And we're back. In the absence of Battlefield, the death of X-Defiant, and goofiness of Call of Duty, Delta Force appears to be the right game at the right time. With its comprehensive free-to-play offerings, deep progression system, and perhaps genre-defining weapon customization, Delta Force is a breath of fresh air from a studio of developers who shockingly seem to care about their product. While the Delta Force journey has only just begun with its PC early access beta beginning last week, the game appears to be positioned to give industry mainstays a real run for their money. But with that being said, hit subscribe and let's talk first impressions of Delta Force's official release. Now, this video isn't a full review, but more so my thoughts after playing through early access and now the final PC beta. This beta is essentially the full game, just without gamepad support, nor approval for consoles just yet, something that's coming in the beginning of next year according to the official Twitter. But to get to the point, if you have a PC and enjoy military shooters, you need to give Delta Force a try. As a free-to-play title that's undergone several technical tests, Delta Force is more stable, with more content, more quality, and a lower price point than any other major competitor. I made the joke months ago that Delta Force's alphas had more content than Battlefield 2042's entire game, and that's still the case. Delta Force offers a good number of weapons, vehicles, and modes, but with way more customization and ways to experience the content, granted on seemingly few multiplayer maps. Weapons feel way more personal, handcrafted, and hard-hitting with a huge number of attachments and adjustments that allow players to tweak everything from eye relief to weight distribution, making it a great game for gun nerds. Game modes such as King of the Hill will be familiar to Battlefield fans, where 64 players fight over control of multiple objectives. However, the game's extraction mode will finally deliver the deep, tactical open world mode that Call of Duty and Battlefield fans have been looking for across PC and console. And that extraction mode, called Operations, is where this game really shines for me. While the core multiplayer and remastered campaign are great, they're nothing new. However, Operations delivers the most polished, thoughtful, and hardcore open world experience that we've seen this side of Tarkov. Throw in a complex system of base upgrades and weapon attachments with AAA graphics, and we get a more refined experience than we're used to seeing with these kinds of titles, especially on consoles. Now, if you're a fan of Grayzone or Tarkov, I wouldn't say there's anything groundbreaking here. However, this sort of hardcore military extraction shooter will be a whole new experience for console fans who've only been offered more casual experiences like Warzone or Hazard Zone, and I think that'll be a huge part of the game's success. Delta Force represents a more complete package for less money, with brand new experiences for the casual fan, while still being wrapped up in a pretty solid AAA package. Remember, this isn't some indie shooter on Steam, this is being produced by the Chinese tech giant Tencent, the publisher behind Call of Duty Mobile, League of Legends, and more. And say what you will, but the current product is rather refined and offers fans what we've been asking for. A commitment to a true, boots-on-the-ground, military shooter, albeit inside a fictional world. And yes, it's essentially a Battlefield clone, but with the current state of that franchise, I'm totally fine with it. In many ways, Delta Force is what 2042 wanted to be. Now throw that concept into a game that's quite well optimized, where my Ryzen 9 4090 machine is averaging around 100 FPS at 4K max settings, and you've done a pretty good job at winning over at least the casual PC crowd. In total, if you're a fan of Battlefield, Insurgency Sandstorm, Tarkov, Grayzone, and so on, give Delta Force a try. It's a great experience so far, especially for a free title, but before I wrap this up, I do have to mention some drawbacks. First up, while performance is seemingly solid, it feels like the servers aren't 100% there. I often get what feels like a frame drop, where the game becomes a bit of a slideshow, specifically near other players in the base multiplayer. This often happens while still maintaining high FPS and low hardware stress, so I'd like to guess it's a server-side issue. Next up, while the game does look great, at least on high-end hardware, the voice acting leaves quite a bit to be desired. Being a Chinese dev team, they may have had a hard time accessing or even understanding what a good English voice actor sounds like, so you sometimes get moments of flimsy writing and delivery and can often hear the same voice line across multiple players at the same time.
Don't call me mister, call me doctor.
In addition to weak voice acting, while the guns sound amazing, the game's footstep audio in general feels muddy and confusing. And with such high-risk game modes like Operations, it's something that has to be handled sooner than later. Finally, an issue I had with this game back in the alpha and has only gotten worse is the menu design and progression system. While I do enjoy the absolute depth of player contracts, challenges, battle pass levels, player ranks, weapon unlocks, cosmetics, and earnable tokens, the delivery of these rewards and how to use them is going to be a huge pain point for the average player. I'm never quite sure what I'm unlocking or from where. And while it's not the worst problem to have, as it does stem from having so much content, it is something the team really needs to fix before they release it on console. Perhaps a color-coordinated system of challenges, contracts, rank-up rewards, and battle pass items to really tie those systems back into themselves, highlighting where you're getting these rewards from after each session and where to track them later on. But aside from those few notable complaints, I don't have much else to mention, though it is worth noting I'm a controller player at heart and often only use mouse and keyboard for slower-paced games, so I'll have a better feel for the gunplay come the console release early next year. If you want a more in-depth look at gunplay, I'd recommend checking out someone like Enders, who participated in a sponsored Delta Force tournament. Overall, Delta Force is a solid foundation built upon a more tactical style of gunplay, but with a much wider range of content, customization, and experiences than many FPS fans are accustomed to. The game will often reward slower, thoughtful gameplay in its extraction mode, while also allowing players to let their hair down in a more fast-paced traditional multiplayer just a few clicks away. The game offers plenty of depth while also pushing its graphics, animations, and weapon sounds well ahead of Call of Duty, with more content than Battlefield. Like I said, Delta Force appears to be the right game at the right time, but we'll have to wait and see. But tell me what you think below. Have you tried Delta Force yet, or are you waiting for console? Like always, drop those comments below, and stay tuned for everything Battlefield and Delta Force. And as always, thank you guys for watching.